come up. Has there been times where you maybe have witnessed, or you have yourself been in a space where you've expressed your preference and it's not been safe? Let me ask that question, to get your kind of thoughts. I mean, has there been a time when you've witnessed it, or where you have expressed your thoughts on a preference and it's not been safe? I want to kind of get your feelings and thoughts in that moment. What were you going through that point in time when you felt like it wasn't safe in that particular regard? Sean, go for us again, bro.
Sure. So I can definitely say that's the case. And I think, it comes down to the instances when I've talked about a particular type of woman that I prefer to be with. I've expressed in the past that at this stage in my life, I prefer to date women that don't have kids. So that becomes a thing. And women can get offended about that. When that conversation happens, whether they have kids or whether they are just upset about a preference that I have because they feel like it marginalized them, or puts them, rules them out, or potential friends or that they may have. Um, it, it becomes something we talk about, right? Or I get pushback on. Another thing is if I say, listen, I prefer a woman to be a particular size, right? And I'm not saying like, oh, it has to be a size 2 or 4, but I'll say a particular, there's a woman that I may see, and someone will, a woman has asked like, oh, what do you think about her? And I'm like, no, that's not really my type. I don't like a woman that size, and then you kind of get a lot of questions. Well, why not? Well, the average woman is XYZ size, and da 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 da. And it's like, listen, I no disrespect to anybody else, but that's just particularly how I feel. I'm not, well, you're shallow, and what about you? And what, da, da, da. You have all these questions that get fired back at you. And it's kind of like, look, I just was telling you my type. If you want me to lie, I can lie. That way we don't have to have this conversation. But I'm just telling you what my preference is. So those are the times I've definitely felt unsafe sharing my thoughts about what I prefer, because you get a lot of backlash.
What was going through your mind when you were getting that backlash?
Probably wishing I didn't even mention it, you know, wishing I could have just avoided the whole conversation and not even mentioned what my type is.
Appreciate you for sharing that. Anu, what was your thoughts to this question? When in terms of, have you ever experienced where you've shared a preference, or seen someone else share a preference and it's backfired on them?
Oh, yes. Yes, I guess yes and no. So,
Mm,
like, when I was in medical school, when we used to have parties, certain like that, I would have like female classmates, whatever, try to set me up with other women they think that I might be attracted to, even if I tell them, you know what, hey, I'm looking for a black girl between 5'2" and 5'2", sorry, 5'6" and 5'9". They'll set me up. But I have my friend who's 5'3". I think you should still meet me out, even though if my what I'm looking for isn't there, or what I'm looking for isn't there, to try to find a substitute in order to see if that can just appease because they're just trying to see me with someone else. I kind of feel like most people might. You think people might have their good intentions, but sometimes it's like they're just gonna figure out what's there and try to push it on you, and then it's up to you to either s- deny or accept what their request is. It's kind of hard when that situation's like presented to you in your face. You have to deal with it because again, you were trying. I was trying to be nice and not trying to turn somebody down that I'm not attracted to. I think uh, Sean was saying earlier, it's like you can't force attraction if you're not attracted to someone there or not. That's kind of instantaneous or within the first 10 to 15 seconds. Most people, I mean, at least I know for me back earlier, let's say in my 20s, again, like if I wasn't attracted to somebody, like I'm not going to try to bring that relationship out of anywhere to mean something. Again, I'm just move on to someone else or someone I find more attractive to that person. I might not have the vocabulary or exactly how to present my train of thought back then, and instead of instead of putting that person down, I might entertain them for longer than I should have. Looking at it now, I kind of feel like there's when you're not attracted to somebody, there's a way that you can say it with tact without hurting their person's feelings, and I think It's one of the things you have to learn to grow. It's like, learn as you grow how to just tell people no, or tell people, okay, this is not what you're interested in, not try to force something out of nothing. But those situations, I've went through those countless times. To now, I'm just like, okay, if I'm not attracted to somebody, I mean, that's fine. I'll move on to who I'm attracted to. I'm not going to look at friends, look at other people to hook me up with people that I would deem attractive, or I have a preference. When we say preferences, if there's strictly the type of person looking for, I'm not going to settle, or not going to take something that doesn't fit those requirements if that's what I'm looking for.
Oh, solid. I hear you, bro. The setups are wild. I hear you, bro. I hear you. Well, I didn't get to ask you. I mean, how did it feel then when you felt like you're being dismissed for your preferences or not being heard? Your mute.
I think it's like you might not understand. It's like understanding, like, what's the purpose of why are you trying to put me in a situation I feel uncomfortable with. Again, I wasn't as self confident then as I am now. So if you're being put in those situations on the spot, having to deal with them, you don't have the proper tools in order to navigate those spaces. It becomes very tough. Like now, I'm like, I can bat an eye. I'm like, okay, like, I'm not going to go through something I don't want to put myself in. I'm being presented that situation, and you see that person right up in your face. And again, you can't. I'm not looking to demean somebody based on based on who they are. Everyone's pretty to somebody else, but again, you can't force the world's interpretation of beauty onto me.